You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amba TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned. You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amba TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned. You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amba TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned. You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amba TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned.
Stand with Ambazonia. Empower ABC Amba TV. We are calling on Ambazonians around the world to unite and uplift ABC Amba TV, Ambazonian Broadcasting Corporation. In this critical time of war, ensuring the station's survival is more important than ever. But what does ABC Amba TV truly represent for Ambazonia?
At the heart of Ambazonia's war of independence, ABC Amba TV stands as a beacon. Years of recolonization, annexation, and French Cameroon's oppressive occupation of the Southern Cameroons Ambazonia have led to our exclusion. Our identity was hidden, our history distorted, our sovereignty denied. Queen of England is aware that the British Southern Cameroons were never a colony under France.
Since its inception in 2018, ABC Amba TV has been our lifeline.
Months of diplomacy have failed to resolve the crisis as fear grows over an imminent Russian invasion of Ukraine.
Our work in the dark is our chance to tell our stories to the world, to give voice to the voiceless and broadcast the truth of our struggle.
We are serious about executing this revolution.
It has become a vital arm of our government in wartime, making diplomacy achievable and showcasing our untold stories.
ABC Amba, you guys know how important ABC is for this, our quest for international recognition.
Your donations can make a world of difference. Every bit of support helps keep our stories alive, our presence known, and our fight in the global conversation.
The moment they notice that we are no longer on air, they think that, oh, maybe La Republic has succeeded. This is about Ambazonia. One thing we must always remember.
Where would we be without ABC Amba TV? Let's ensure we never have to find out.
A revolution is a temporary state of insanity to bring about sanity.
Mobilize, donate, stand with Ambazonia, donate to ABC Amba TV.
Together, let's write the next chapter of our history.
It is better to light the candle than to curse the dark.
Support ABC Amba TV campaign. Ambazonia Independence, voice for the voiceless. Mobilize for change.
Like military spokesman, really correct. The thing be say two things today. Secession, so my commander, you talk like military spokesman, really correct. The thing be say two things today: secession and separation. Secession and separation. The world no like secession. Secession, everybody hate her. Every country hate her because there's no country in the world where you not get a secessionist tendency. A secessionist tendency that says some people they do it they inside that country but they're not glad. and the one come out. Nigeria get them, America get them for Texas, France get them, Spain get them, Barcelona, even UK get them for Ireland. Every country get a secessionist tendency. Even Canada get them for Quebec, and the world not support any secession. Now they fight to blood, to death. It take now only about 10% secession cases then whether they succeed for end up or divide, like in South Sudan. But now I think that will a republic they try for cast we as a secessionist movement, because they know say one the talk say secessionists, all man go unite behind them against we. I think that la republic they call we secessionists, everyday secessionists. Now because of that, okay, what will be the meaning of secessionist? Secessionist means say you come from the word scission. It means say one thing, you take one thing where being a one, then you divide them into two. One, you divide them, you secede them, break them into two for form another thing. No country no day in the world will go support you. You see Biafra now na secessionist movement, because they assume say they don't already be in a one country, then they try for breakaway. I think that they struggle so, even though they get resources. But we international community, because of the diplomacy we don't do, and because our case be justified in the United Nations, like country where we don't first exist before they can and next week. You know what I say that they call we na separatists. You know what I say they call we na separatists. The reason why they call we separatists na say we separate. If not for marriage, they will call we na separation, not na divorce, because they know say we will not be married. They know say we will not be signed book for marriage. They know say we don't be for own independent. They too they be their own independent. They will decide say they can't unite. They know what card the paper they not sign up. Any man want go his own way. That one will not the break some money country. We not the do secession. We just separate. We say any man go his own way as we be first be. So now we are arguing that. And the world already start believe we say we are separatists, because that's the truth. Say we not be secessionists. But what will be the characteristic of a separatist movement? Now say, if we not separate, we not self, because we don't first be a country, we get for constitute we serve as a country. We get a flag, we bring back our flag. We get an anthem, we bring back our anthem. We get a government before they become dissolved, we bring back our government. You want to talk to us? We say we become into a union of two parties of equal status. Now one party in the Republic, now the other party this. The other party was a government. When Southern Cameroons be go meet la Republic, say they try make it in one country. It will be na Foncha be na the head of the government. Now government to government they will meet up for Fumban. Wow. So if somebody can't talk say this, so may we forget about government, may any man just join your own group. Okay, that means say we not fight as a country, no. That means say we not fight as a country. That means say we just be like agitators. We just be like people the way we vex because we need something from our government for Yaoundé. Then that government now go can say, okay, wait you want to say me I give you now. When you get a secessionist problem, now the government of the country now go answer you. But when you get a separatist problem, now international community the settler. International community go talk to from government to government, because international community no fit enter for some my country now. It start to talk for different people the way they vex, and different people they vex where they get their groups and so on. They talk to them. That means that they interfere into the internal affairs. Because secession is not internal affair. Separation na international matter. Our matter is international. It no be national to La Republic. So La Republic Parliament no fit discuss matter concern. But if we continue for do all this thing with ignorance, because the fact say we get courage for fight, courage for do this, no mean say we get the knowledge. If courage no listen to knowledge, we go spoil this fight, we go struggle, so we go all die, we no go see the thing we the fight justify to achieve. And here plenty people that any man they talk, or any man get microphone, any man get phone, any man get Facebook, any man get WhatsApp. But how many people they talk because they get the knowledge of what will they do, what did they go on? It be very frustrating when somebody know we know exactly. We don't fight for some ego, we not there for some high horse. We fight strategically to win for everybody. But how many people get the knowledge for understand what did happen? How many people they way international committee they call them for corner, a whisper for their ear? How many of that people they talk so make plenty audio the so where they don't get that privilege for understand the mindset, the software where they move the international community. No. We get for define ourselves as a country. And how we define ourselves as a country? We define ourselves not only for declare say we be Federal Republic of Ambazonia. That's not enough. Is there any republic without a flag? Is there any republic without an anthem? Is there any republic without a government? We get for define ourselves as a government because we don't already say we are a country. That's the starting point. That one not be enough for promote somebody, not enough for make somebody big. or something. Na sense to fight and to win. Na sense say make we too will get a seat in the community of nations. Nation they no fit shit down. Then some group can shit down for them. In the community of nations, we will fight for recognition. Recognition means say we want to be part of the community of nations. How we go manage join the community of nations? I will not get a government. We only get groups them where any man they give 100 here, they want to give 200 here. So no, you know go work as so. The Republic go accuse them say they can't destabilize their country. Some people they cry for their house, say that they hungry. Instead you can't tell the same they deny their papa. Now so they go tell them. But when people talk say this, so this man no papa, this man no, I don't get no relation, I don't know these people there. We don't get no contract, no understand that they here now by kidnap. International category come on for come with that picking for them. I don't know me how to explain them again. So may we come back again for the ASA, Ambazonian State Army. Okay, if we constitute ourselves as a government, in line with our declaration, say we are a country, where it will just be annexed and run over by La Republic, by another party, we will be thinking, say we want come together as in a gentleman's agreement. They annex with the dissolved government. If when we for say we want constitute ourselves as a country, we need to show say we get our own identity. And what to be our identity in the international community? We get a flag, we get a name, yes. We also get an anthem, but more especially, we get to get an army. Every country get a state army, an army where it belong to the state. Tell me one country in the world where call itself say they are a country. They don't get an army. They only get now one group this side. They call themselves say reconciliation, blah blah. The other one they call themselves say fighter group international. The other one they get their own friend. Tell me one country. You not get army. You only get a group. Anybody they group themselves today. The name change. The other one they don't know who are who. Group of the wrong group, but na country. You know they. If we continue like this, it means say we are not organizing in line with our argument. That means say we are not coming to the international community as a country. We come before them as a group of disgruntled agitators. People they vex. And when you tell people, you go outside, say be picking for her, say you the vex. They will send you for who? They will send you for Papa. They say, go meet your Papa, Mami, Mona, Shidoma, reconcile. Now, so it is. All these people, the way they bring over sense, they always manipulate people because you get $100, $200 for sending for somebody for grant. They manipulate people, them. They talk all kind lies against others just so that maybe they get some small handle on the ground. Say me to get my own group. These people are the enemies. The worst part is La Republic for this struggle. Because you know what? If La Republic is the prayer, one prayer, now say, may the international community no ever see we as a country. Now their prayer that they pray. One prayer will La Republic pray. Say, may the international community no ever see we as one, as a country. May they continue for see we as secessionists, people who they want break their country so that they go join together to hate us. You cannot say, no. We'll fight with our Federal Republic. We'll fight now for the government. But any man fight his own. May any man be for his own side. No, a government now a constituted authority. You see, if the international community no believe in the ability of the government, even if your argument as a nation it be justified, they will not give you a nation because that nation will be a chaos. Because giving you a nation will not be a solution. The government now the authority where they present itself as capable enough to manage and to govern the country. So all our arguments say we are country are justified in the United Nations. All our arguments say we are country, they are justified even by the people who they be vote for our independence. All our arguments say we are country is justified even in the archives of the Queen of England. Everybody know. But you know what? If we are not qualified, if we not sure say we are qualified to govern that thing, it's just a small picking. When picking still small, right? Even though the property I own, they will give them for neighbor or for uncle may manage them until it big. Now say it. If we not organize ourselves for constitute ourselves as a people where they be capable and qualified, as which is the government. Now the government structure, the government authority. Now it shows say we get the handle, we can govern this nation, which is our own. They say, okay, we're not take out. The fact say it be your own, it don't mean say they will give them for you. Until we demonstrate, say we get the authority and the organization to manage that country. Otherwise, they will be handing us a chaos. Now the thing now in La Republic is struggle for so every day go sponsor one small group, may go call itself this, the other one sponsor one small group, say may go call itself this on the ground. And some people that they foolishly because you hate your neighbor, you hate your friend, you don't like my voice, you don't like me, you say okay, I support, may any man be for your own side. You know you are not fighting strategically. They know they give you a country because you are angry. They know no country know they will go accept for endorse you, recognize you because you are angry. Then therefore don't grant all secessionist movement them, cut them off as the countries. No, they give you, especially when you say you are a separate country, they see and say you be justified legally. Then the next question now, are you organized enough with an army that can defend that country? Because the work of the army is to defend the territory of the nation and the people and that country. The 19 they call us the defense. That's the army. When I don't structure on ourselves to be able to handle this if we give it to you people, have you structured yourself correctly to handle this if we give you this country? Or yes, it is your own. Have you structured yourself? Now, so the international community, they think. That's the fact. So all this, this one here, which other organization, they call them some cancer. No one call their name there on the ground. The ASA, when I understand what they talk, why would say let's see ourselves as the Ambazonian state army? Now say because if we say we are a state, where is our army? Why is our army 20 groups? So we get for adopt, say all of us are now the state army under the state of Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia, with an anthem, with a flag, and we are all solid together. Every country will recognize us because it is in line with our argument that when we went to Fumban, we were a country. Now that we are separating as a country. In Fumban, we had a leadership. It was not one man, but it was led by one man. And I the truth that. So with the fight, we have restored. This is the restored government. This is the restored army. This is the restored anthem. This is the restored flag.
Good evening, fellow Ambazonians, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to this very important broadcast and exclusive discussion we'll be having with the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. We want to sincerely apologize for starting the program a little late. The President was charged with some emergencies to attend to, but thank God we now have him in the studios. And as you all already know, you know what we'll be talking about. I want to call all those who are currently locked in via our social media platforms to go right ahead to tell somebody that we're live. And it's a very important day. Lots of doubts and lots of controversies. We believe that the President will be taking or addressing some of your concerns, giving the government perspective, refocusing the struggle again after tonight's discussion. And why are we here? Ambassador Tibor Nagy, in yet another X or tweet, has seemingly watered down Ambazonia's faith and trust in the UN General Assembly Resolution 1608. This particular post on X has sparked a debate within Ambazonian community for at least 2 weeks now. Diverse opinions even within the government of Ambazonia. The statement is considered by a cross-section of Ambazonians as a significant diplomatic blow to the Southern Cameroons liberation movement efforts. But what does this indicate? I would think that it is a wake-up call, a need for strategic reassessment, and perhaps a broader, more diversified approach to international advocacy, diplomacy, and the quest for Southern Cameroon's sovereignty. And this is one of the reasons why we have the head of state, commander-in-chief of the Ambazonian State Army, president of Ambazonia, and the leader of the liberation movement here tonight. After all is said and done, what does President Sako think? It is very important, not just for the people of Ambazonia, but for the international community to get the government's perspective on this issue. But before we get into that, it is important also for us to examine what the United Nations General Assembly resolutions generally signify in international law. In international law, the United Nations General Assembly resolution represents a collective opinion or stance of the member states on the specific issue. However, unlike Security Council's resolutions, General Assembly resolutions are generally non-binding. This means that while they can express important political views, set standards, influence international norms, and encourage actions among member states, they do not have the force of law. Key points about the UN resolutions for us to take note of before we bring the president again. They express collective opinion, moral and political weight. They can set standards and norms. They can influence domestic law. They can create collaborative actions between member states. But something of great importance now that Ambazonia is very keen to diplomacy with the United States. Traditionally, the United States courts have not considered United Nations General Assembly resolutions to be authoritative sources of international law, unless the resolution merely restated legal principles that could be verified by reference to recognized sources such as customary international law treaties. In a summary, the United Nations General Assembly resolutions are influential instruments in international relations, shaping norms and encouraging states towards collective goals and values, but they do not have the compulsory legal power that we may think of. So what's the cliche? What's Ambazonia's argument? What's our strategy? What do we stand for? The president will be talking about that right after the break. Stay tuned. Mr. President, good evening once again. You're welcome. Thank you for creating time amidst your busy schedule. And it is worth mentioning that today is your birthday, which means you could have been there celebrating, but you opted to create this time for the people of Ambazonia. Thank you for coming and welcome.
Thank you, Paddy, and thank you, televiewers, fellow Ambazonians. Thank you for having me here.
Yes, very straightforwardly, Mr. President. I'm sure you would have seen Tibor Nagy's tweet, and you probably would have read the reactions and watched some of the programs we've had on TV on issues relating to this. How do you respond to statements from a reputable diplomat like Tibor Nagy, who suggests that the UN General Assembly Resolution 1608 that holds a very strong position in our argument regarding Ambazonia is not dependable, not enforceable. He even says that not even the United Nations can compel La République du Cameroun to respect it. What do you think?
Yes, the only thing I can say when a senior diplomat that I respect, like Mr. Tibor Nagy, making an opinion on X, on an issue like this, the only thing I can say is that he has been consistent. He has not said anything new. Listen, I read that tweet again, and let me read it again so that I don't, we understand what he said. He said, on Ambazonia, and some folks still believing in UN Resolution 1608 happening. Then he says, sorry, let's be real. So he's talking about, he's trying to castigate those who are still believing. So he is not questioning the validity of Resolution 1608. He's not questioning the resolution in itself. There is rather questioning why we should still believe in it. So that's an indictment on the United Nations as a system. It's an indictment because he seems to be drawing the conclusion that the UN resolutions are just a formality. That the UN as an institution that is supposed to maintain peace and security amongst nations is a failed mission. It's on a failed mission that, and relying on the United Nations to do it is a waste of time, because everything he proposed as an alternative makes the United Nations irrelevant, completely irrelevant as far as the achieving peace and security in Ambazonia is concerned. If that is the same prescription to every other conflict and every other nation, then what's the use of the United Nations? So the principal question is, are the United Nations resolution truly just a formality? And is that institution just is it a formality? When it comes to your intro, where you said that United Nations resolutions are supposed to be they don't have any they are not legally binding General Assembly resolutions. No, General Assembly does a lot of things. The independence, nations are granted independence by the General Assembly. That is how every other nation was granted independence. So not every resolution from the General Assembly will be considered as non-binding or not having the force of law. If so, then the boundary between nations and the status of independence granted to nations will also be considered non-binding. The truth is that there is no resolution of the United Nations that can force a country to do anything, just like there is no law that can force people to do the right thing. But law enforcement can cause people to do the right thing. So any resolution the United Nations chooses to enforce, they know what to do. That's when the Security Council will pass a resolution which will require the nations to put together a force in order to bring the parties to compliance, or make sure that that resolution is enforced. So here is a world where we are being told by a senior diplomat that the United Nations will always pick and choose what to enforce and what not to enforce. So for me, I see it as an indictment of the UN system because, and number two, he has always not been for this resolution from the beginning, that we should not pass through the route of the resolution 1608. But let me say this, without resolution 1608, we will not have the air of legitimacy we have, even to talk about anything, even to have a space within the international sphere to articulate our problem, even to be given the attention that we now have. Without resolution 1608, our case would be so unjustified that it would just be another case of secession that no one will be willing to listen to us. We are where we are without any force of pretense It is because of the strength of our argument. And it is based on a resolution which is advising those who are still believing in it to stop believing in it. And let me say this, the resolution 1608 makes our problem an international problem. So anyone who has been preaching an internal fix, who tells you forget about the resolution 1608, is telling you in another, in another word that please, as I told you before, this requires an internal fix. Don't make it international. That that the problem, the conflict is an international conflict because it involves two countries. I don't know if I should just go on. There are. Let me give you Resolution 1608, paragraph section 15. What was it titled? Let me give you the title of that resolution. It was titled "The Future of the Trust Territory of the Cameroons under the United Kingdom Administration." That is the title of it, "The Future." So are we saying that the United Nations gathered to pass a resolution which had no legal force and was never going to be implemented, was just a formality, and he had to talk about the future of a people? That's the failure to be ascribed to the world body by my respected diplomat. And you see, it was also titled, the subtitle, which you found in the reading as you read, as the resolution to terminate the trustee agreement between the United Nations and Britain. There was a trusteeship agreement that was signed between uh, uh, 1946 between United Nations and Britain to administer this territory. This is a resolution to end that trusteeship agreement. If we say it doesn't have the force of law and cannot be enforced by the world body, it was just a declaration and a non-binding declaration, then tell me which other country's independence is non-binding if ours was not binding and is not enforceable. Should any other country stand on for the fact that they were granted independence if we will not stand for that? If we will stop believing in that resolution, then we should stop believing in the United Nations. So that is what it is. It is a resolution to terminate the trusteeship agreement, and it was talking about our future after the termination of our agreement. And everything that was prescribed in that resolution, was it just a formality or it was prescribed to be fulfilled? And if it is not fulfilled, can the United Nations, does it have the power of reviewing its own resolutions? If it has the power of enforcing its resolution, doesn't it have power to look into its own resolution and the application or the implementation of its own resolutions? When somebody says we should stop believing in them, again, it sounds like an indictment on their failure, the failure of the international system. It's not that the resolution was of no consequence. No.
And this is the paradox in his argument and insistent on this rhetoric. You've just mentioned and cues me into the second question. It's about the fact that the termination of that relationship, trusteeship territory was effectuated after this resolution was voted upon. But the outcome 6 decades later, which we call the root cause of the problem, a diplomat is trying to distract us from invoking that into the discussion. And now, Mr. President, I'm asking you, I do not think he's ignorant. Why do you think he is doing this?
You know, anyone who has been a friend to a friend is never always the first to condemn the friend. He always will do it when it is inevitable. Cameroon has spent their time making friends with the international world community for the past 62 or 63 years or 64 years. I would not be surprised that Mr. Tibor Nagy had even been a diplomat in Cameroon. So I'm sure he has people he can call personally and say, that's my friend, this man is my friend. I wonder, I think Biya was still president by the time he was a diplomat. So there are interpersonal relationships that people have had. So there is that nostalgic feeling that whatever we can do, though it comes along by saying we are justified, his hope and prayer for his friends is that we end up being one country somehow. So they always come with these prescriptions, like not allowing us to even go and just have a dialogue that would determine the outcome. They want us to agree that that should be the outcome. You see, I think that the intention is to help the sensibilities of the other side. Yes, that's the intention, is to help the other side somehow, to cushion it, to make it better, make it softer, more acceptable to the other side. It's not for the justice of the issue. The Resolution 1608 is just about 2 pages. I mean, paragraph 15 is just about 2 pages. Let me read you the end. I mean, the final paragraph. Let me read it in full. It's just very short. The final paragraph of that resolution is this. This is what is written there. The United Nations invites the administrative authority, one, that's Britain, the government of the Southern Cameroons. What do you hear? The government of the Southern Cameroons. 2. Number 3, the Republic of Cameroon to do what? To initiate urgent discussions with a view to finalizing, because something is not finalized. Remember, this resolution was passed post-plebiscite. It was passed post-plebiscite. Those who say the plebiscite sealed our fate should read Resolution 1608. They said these 3 parties should do what? Initiate urgent discussions with a view to finalizing. Nothing was finalized. Before the 1st of October, the arrangements by which the agreed or declared policies of the parties of the government of Cameroon and the government of Ambazonia, the Southern Cameroons, the declared or agreed policies of the parties concerned will be implemented. That we needed to sit down. The three parties, Britain, the government of Southern Cameroon, and the government of the Republic of Cameroon were supposed to meet before 1st October to do what? To set up an arrangement by which what has been agreed to shall be implemented. To agree on a structure, a form, on how these two shall become one. And remember, Resolution 1608 intended to dissolve 2 different countries to create one new country. And that new country will be called the Federal United Republic of Cameroon. But they are saying that for that to happen, there is an arrangement that needs to be agreed to. And there is a form that needs to be agreed to. And that meeting must be a tripartite meeting where this agreement should be done. And when we also go again to the United Nations Charter 102, let me read you what the United Nations Charter 102 says. For those who say we should just forget about it, we believe in it, something is wrong with us. Let me read you the United Nations Charter 102. Every treaty, because when we talk of the Treaty of Union, that is it right there in the final statement of Resolution 1608. Now, when that is done, when that understanding, that arrangement, that agreement is done, what does the United Nations require the 2 nations to do? Every treaty and every international agreement entered into by any member of the United Nations after the present Charter of the United Nations comes into force shall as soon as possible be registered with the Secretariat and published by it. Now, Mr. Tibor Nagy, who wants us, like many like him, who say we believe in that resolution, instead of holding the United Nations to their own resolutions, say we should stop believing in it. The question is, did that tripartite meeting hold? When did it hold? Let the historians like Ngo and some other people come and tell me, when did that tripartite meeting hold? Where? To fulfill the requirement for these two, for the declared and agreed policies to bring these two countries together as one to happen. Because plebiscite was an expression of desires of the people, the desires of the people of Southern Cameroon. It was not a legal conclusion of anything. The United Nations said there should be a tripartite meeting that will determine the arrangement that this will bring these two to form one new country. When did the meeting take place? And number two, is it then wrong for a people to hold the very institution that made that declaration, that made that resolution, and say, this did not happen? And because it did not happen, no agreement, no treaty was reached. And because no treaty was reached, there is no treaty as such in the United Nations. So, if we express the intention, the desire in a plebiscite to join, and the United Nations prescribed something that needed to be done for that to happen, and it was not done, did we join? Did we join?
Mr. President, I'm thinking that from even your explanation, one of the reasons that you'll be doing that is to make sure that the criminals who did what they did should not be accountable for the crimes they have committed against the people of Southern Cameroons. And he goes forward to even, I watched an excerpt from an interview he had about, I think yesterday or so, someone sent it to me. And he's saying that even the Security Council has no teeth, cannot cause any such changes. His example is South Sudan, that if the Security Council can effect any change, then they would have handled the situation in Southern Cameroons. That is not even my question. You may want to react to it. My question goes thus. Maybe there are some diplomats, I know you're walking the diplomatic corridors every single day, and maybe there are other diplomats who share the same sentiments like him. Do you find this argument somewhat an obstacle in your effort to create friendly ties and initiate partnership?
Many are more blunt in secret when I talk with them. They are not saying that the law is not right. They are not saying that we are not justified. They are saying the court is corrupt. They are saying the court will not deliver justice. So unlike this one saying that we believe in, maybe puts it in another choice of words, that keep on believing in them. They are a toothless dog. They cannot bite. Even if they can, they will not bite. And therefore, it goes again back to my analysis that if for him and for many like him, the United Nations is become totally irrelevant. It has its resolutions are not worth the piece of paper on which they are written. They have no force of law. Even when they grant you independence, it has no force of law. They can, but they will not enforce it. So nobody should go around saying, I have territorial integrity, I have this, I have this. Even when boundary treaties are done and they are ratified in the General Assembly, they have no force of law, because if if there is any problem, they will not go there to enforce their own resolution. And if they make mistakes, they cannot review them to correct anything because they are just mere statements of they are just empty declarations. In the private, some diplomats have made me understand that the international system, as it is a grand conspiracy of certain nations put together that are working towards a certain agenda. And because they have not succeeded to be efficient, to be unbiased, to really work for the maintenance of peace and security, but they are actually instead implementing and following an agenda. That is why the world is more and more polarized. That's why many conflicts are neglected and others are taken heads on. It's by the same United Nations institutions or agencies. So, left with that reality, our advice is to make sure that we do our best. When a people knows that you are justified, the best they can do when they don't want to join you to fight is not to condemn you. That's why many will not condemn us. But let me tell you that the weight is on our shoulders. As we continue to fight, when these same people realize that we have gotten what we deserve because it is right in the eyes and it is right in the eyes of the rest, they will simply fall in line. I want to tell you that many of them are just measuring how far we are from the goalpost before they fall in line because they have multitudes of justification for what we do, for where we stand, for our arguments. They believe it to the core. But it's where there is no willingness, and we are this justified. I can assure you that they are doing nothing to stop us. They are not helping the enemy to crush us because we are too justified for them to do that. The one thing I know is that if you and I, Ambazonia, we don't give up, these same people who say that we should stop believing in this and that, will talk to our ears. We will come closer. Will walk with us. So in other words, one of them told me, it will get worse before it gets better. He told me that in 2019 in a closed door meeting. And I believe him. That means that they know what is going on. It is clear that it will get better. But we are going through what we are going through. And they are looking away, but they know we are justified. But hey, it will get better soon. Unless we fail, unless we decide to give it up. Nations don't want to, people don't want to come and fight your fight. Even if you are justified, they want you to fight your fight and then give you a crown of congratulations at the end. Yes, so that's the case. They know that our case is justified. And if by any means anybody wants to accuse them for doing anything with us, privately or openly, they would tell them to their face how justified those guys are. And in secret, that's what they do. In secret, some of these diplomats speak like this, but in secret, when they meet with La Republic, they tell La Republic the truth. That you see, you don't want to say that to us. You know what the matter is. Come on, go there. When the same international community tells La Republic of Cameroon to make sure that there is a negotiated settlement to this conflict, that will some dialogue that will address the root causes of the matter. What does that mean? They know that there are some root causes and they are so justified. The problem we see here is their unwillingness to take it on our behalf. That if we fight and we keep the flame, they cannot have the moral justification to condemn us. They will not do so. Even Tibor Nagy fell short of indicting us for what we do. The only thing he is telling us in a coded language is stop waiting for those people. They will do nothing for you. But my problem is that he should have not ended up with a prescription. That is the problem I have with the international community. The complex
Yeah.
of coming that complex of coming into a conflict between two parties, and you prescribe all the solutions, and you tell them that that's the solution that they must take. Why
And
don't you
something
believe?
something I
Yes.
notice about Ambassador Tibor Nagy is he always tries to, when he wants to justify his argument, he tells us there's nothing like an international community. It makes it to seem like it is a hypothetical concept. I was just about asking you, Mr. President, when you look at even from the first-hand information you have with those you communicate with to advocate and internationalize our struggle, creating relationship, you look at this dark cloud. I was about asking you, what is your hope? But you seemingly would have answered that. So, and you're now talking about Tibor Nagy giving prescriptions, and one of which prescription is a referendum. And you've thought about that a lot of times. I'm going to play one of your videos after this program with you teaching the community, Ambazonian community, of the pros and the cons of that thought. Now, my question goes again to you. Your stance is clearly known. Why are you completely opposed to the idea of a referendum, which has widely, according to Tibor Nagy, it has a widely advocated potential? And according to him again, that is what can call the UN. The UN cannot ask Cameroon to meet us on the table. But the international community that he doesn't believe they exist, and the UN can ask them to negotiate with us on the terms of a referendum. Why are you completely disinclined to the idea of a referendum, Mr. President?
Or somewhere the United Nations can do nothing, but somewhere else the United Nations can do something. Somewhere the international community is nowhere to be found, cannot do anything, but in another stretch, United Nations, international community can do something. When you hear statements like that, you know that these are just statements of manipulation. Because when you start by saying that our core argument should be discarded, we should forget about it, we should go for a referendum. Let me explain to the people once more. When you discard our core argument of a separate country, in fact, the United Nations, in their record, we are a separate country. Time will fail me to read the documents, the deliberations, even the content of the resolution 1608. We are a country. So let me show you what we agreed. Because when somebody say that we should have a referendum now, it means that we have taken out, and we should not base on resolution 1608, but we should accept the referendum. From who? If we don't go back to the argument of the historical argument that led us into this failed union, we should discard it and not believe in it. Then we should accept a referendum. The question is, we will accept that referendum from who? It is only possible that it is going to come, because a referendum is a it is a law that is going to be passed. By who? Who is going to order the referendum? If the United Nations should not look into this matter, because let's forget about the UN and Resolution 1608. Who is going to order the referendum? La République du Cameroon. That's it. So the person is telling you, and if La République du Cameroon orders a referendum, that the Southern Cameroon should organize. If they order a referendum, it means that they are going to be in charge. They are in charge. But the first plebiscite, which was a consultation of our desire, was not organized by La République. It was even argued on the floor of the UN that they should have also consulted the French Cameroon side if they wanted to join with us. Then we were the ones who were consulted. Now, in a union that has failed, where we are being killed as animals for demanding, for saying that we have no legal relationship together, and this is a courtship. We don't deserve to order here, and we want to go. Then they say that we should go and ask La République to give us a referendum. Because as for the United Nations, continue to believe or talk about Resolution 1608 is a waste of time. How does that feel? It means that they want us to deny all our arguments and put our faith in the hands of La République. Because if La République for 62 years have never organized a free and fair election, they don't know that it is not in the vocabulary or in their psyche or in any of their senses anything that can be called a free and fair election or vote. That does not exist in their vocabulary. How can they, a free people who were consulted in a plebiscite, and we express our desires, and the same United Nations told us that now that you have agreed on certain things in your note verbal, you have agreed, and that note verbal that was agreed to between Foncha and Ahijo on the 16th of December 1960 was integrated as part of Resolution 1608. Yes. Then you come and tell us that we have to go back now, but to them, when the union did not take place, when the resolution was not even implemented, when in reality, legally speaking, we are still who we are and they are still who they are. Then now we have to go and ask their parliament if they can give us a referendum to determine our fate. What is this kind of institution that only makes laws but cannot implement them? What's this kind of institution that can only make laws but will never review them? Even the Supreme Court of different nations, which is the supreme law, which declares the supreme law of the land, or defend the supreme law of the land, has the power to review its own laws and its own rulings and change them. But the United Nations cannot. So that is already, if that is how if somebody tells me that that's how the United Nations was formed and that's what it was meant to be, then it was useless. It was inconsequential. It was just some political dressing by certain powers that be in the world. So we cannot accept a referendum from La République, and no other country can come from somewhere and give us a referendum. It is either going to be La République or it's going to be the United Nations. We cannot take a referendum from La République because we are not part of La République. They cannot give us, their parliament has no legal powers or legislative powers over our country. They cannot legislate anything over us. And if the United Nations cannot look into the matter, because if the United Nations is the one looking into the matter, they cannot talk of a referendum. The idea of a referendum presupposes that we are one country, that a certain part of the country is agitating, And so in response of that agitation, let us give them a means of expressing their wish, their desire, or wish to stay or to go. We are not part of them. We are not seceding from them. So they don't owe us any referendum. We are a separate country. Let's look at the agreement that brought us together. If we see that there was no agreement and there is no marriage, why should we send the parties to court? Why should we desire the parties to go through any process in order to separate or not? If the very instruments of unity show that there was no unity. And those people who want us to stay with La Republique, by all means, they want us to avoid that argument. Because that's where La Republique is knocked out 100 and 1000%.
In fact, this is where the hypocrisy is, where Biya has rigged elections all his life. He has killed his way to power and maintained himself to power. And the hypocrisy is somebody coming to tell us 8 years after we have lost more than 60,000 lives that we would have to submit to a certain referendum. He says he doesn't want to suggest any mechanism and doesn't necessarily give a clear framework of how a referendum can be implemented or established. Mr. President, it brings me to something very important, which has to do with the armed struggle. Because he said, unless we're willing to fight, and he says it with such sarcasm, to either discourage the people who are not willing to see more blood. Do you think if everything goes sour, Ambazonians should just depend on this military effort? And what are your plans for the days ahead?
The revolution is in the spirit of the people. The armed struggle is just an expression, is one of the expression of that revolution, that revolt. To tell you that anyone, even those walking the streets who are doing buy and selling, who are locking down when we say lockdown, who sometimes we don't even say lockdown and they lock down. They say we know what we want. The revolution is in their spirit. So nobody can stop it. You cannot solve a political problem through the use of arms. That is the height of stupidity. It's just like you taking a gun and shooting a spirit and say, I'm trying to shoot the spirit of my ancestors. It is coming to disturb me. You take an AK and start shooting it. This is a spirit. It's in the heart of the people, it's right in the heart of the children. The truth is that those people who think that this problem can be resolved by just whatever it takes to silence the gun, the problem is solved, they don't like Cameroon. They don't like Ambazonia. Probably they don't even care about Africa. Because when the medical doctor wants to look at the patient, it's not much about the symptoms. The symptoms only lead him to the problem. And if he loves the patient, he will not just address the symptoms. He will want to address the root cause. And those people who are not careful about the root cause, and if they think that somehow they can just kill us, and kill as many as they kill, then when everywhere is look like quiet, it means the problem has been resolved. It means they don't care. Because in a matter like our own, every wave is stronger than the former. Every wave is stronger than the former. Go and ask those who were chasing the AAC1 and the AAC2, who were holding and imprisoning people. And for a season, they said it was okay. They arrested leaders and threw them in prison, and many of our people died in prison. And that I'm sure they went back to Yaoundé and they said, we have dealt with them, we have killed enough of them. And then 2016 came, and they clamped down on everybody. That was another wave. And then They say we will just put a blanket ban and arrest everybody and throw them all in prison. It was a wave. And then Kakuf was created and Sisiko came into power. They say, oh, if we can just get him and just go and gather all of them and throw them in jail and even kill them, it will be over. And they started popping champagnes. They said, only that decapite, only that decapite, we have decapitated them. And then I came. And those people who think that it is all going to be solved one day, no, every wave is stronger than the previous. As far as you have not solved that inferno, as far as you have not solved that lava that is underneath, you don't want to look at it, you are shooting guns in the air and killing a few people here and there. It means you don't want to have a country. I said in 2018 that there are only two things. Either we will have Ambazonia or there will be no La Republique as we know it. Right? It either we will have Ambazonia and they will go and they will survive as a nation. They will grow with whatever system they know. We will remain a democratic nation and good neighbors. Or there will be no La Republique as you know it. If they like, they can try to go all around. That statement will come to pass, whether dead or alive. Because there is no country that can just fight a war continually. There's no country that can deal with an issue of constant, permanent insecurity in itself. Without the means. What are their resources? So, see, as I read a story today that their own minister is confessing that they are owing salaries. I mean, they are back in salaries.
I was about coming to that. Even.
Okay, I'm just my thoughts, because they are already they are already crumbling. If somebody tells you that they have what it takes to be fighting us, as if they are the ones, we are the ones getting weaker, they are getting stronger. No. We don't have the kind of structures that they need to take care of. We don't have the vast civil service and all the embassies included around the world and all the bills that they need to pay. They have a country to run. And when they have crumbled their own country with such by installing such level of insecurity, a problem that requires political solution, they refuse to solve it, then who do you think will go bankrupt first? And bankruptcy, when the nation goes bankrupt, the next thing is that nation will be a failed state because it cannot maintain its own institutions. And if somebody tell you that they have the capacity to do it, America could only be in Afghanistan for 20 years because they definitely was crumbling the nation, and they decided to stop when they were spending already $1 billion a day. They said, Obama came and said, stop, all of them come back here. It's not a matter of who we are coming back. La Republique they don't even have the breath or the oxygen for you to tell me that they are going to fight us. If they chose to fight us, then they have also refused to have a nation. That's how it's going to be. Peace is more than war.
I wouldn't mind to call you Talk and Do, because I personally broadcast the speech. You were actually traveling for my trip to Boya, and we called you at the airport 2018, and you said if there is no Ambazonian, then there will be no La Republique de Cameroon for anyone. A few days later on, with the resources you were able to bring together, the ASC, if I'm not mistaken, and we saw the changes. We've seen how under your leadership there's been an evolution from strength to strength. You're always having a new idea. But we must face some facts, Mr. President. Since 2021, the movement and home front resistance has not been the same again. We've seen the military effort dwindling in certain counties. We understand the challenges you're facing within federal government and certain counties. We want to applaud your leadership and the leadership of Bui County, Manu, and other counties that are producing the results. When you look at all of this, with the strategy you have at hand, what can you tell the people of Ambazonia to expect in the days ahead? Because the armed struggle seems to be one of our major anchor right now?
Yeah, the thing is that let's face the fact. By 2017, 2018, when the armed conflict was prematurely launched by the misguided conduct of some of the so-called nationalists who put everything out there and made propaganda instead of preparation. And we found ourselves in it. From that moment, we had thousands upon thousands of people, boys and girls. If we even had 100,000 guns, we would have put them all in hands. Many hands would have. It would have not been enough to arm the number of people we had. But these were actually glorified IDPs. They were not fighters. Even though Atangaji, La République du Cameroun, reading from their book of the Makrizar, they decided to be killing them. Remember, they went to Bali, they went to many places where they slaughtered 40 people and put them on fire. And in those days, they slaughter people, they don't even have anything. These were just, I call them glorified IDPs, people who were scared for their lives. They were trying to go and hide. They fought, they tried to hide among those other guys who are courageous, who say, no, enough is enough. You'll find a crowd of about 500 people, they just have about 3 or 4 game guns. So how do you call that? Soldiers? How do you call that? Fighters? No. There are people who will go at night and take a stone and shoot at a policeman who had all an AK-47. That's what we have. We had people who were courageous, who were IDPs, who were displaced. When the burning started, especially in Manu, the burning started all over the place. There were so many that were actually IDPs. IDPs who decided to join some form of resistance because some of them were promised certain things and they were just unhappy because their children and their parents and others, brothers were killed and shot, and they decided, no, enough is enough. That was a spontaneous move. But for us, the preparation took place in the kitchen. We actually we got into the kitchen before the preparation started. So we had had no time to prepare. We started getting prepared within when the struggle has already been launched. So today we have what we crave to have 4 years ago, 5 years ago. That's what we have now. We have what I can say that if you hear that 20 Ambazonian fighters are here, be very sure that there are at least 18 to 20 AKs that are waiting for you there. But in those days, when you told La Republic that I saw them up there, they are just going as if they are going to take out some mosquitoes. And they will get there, they will see a crowd of people, just shoot them like game, kill about 15, 16, 17, 20 people, and they come back on this. And when, in order to avoid the stigma in the international community, they had guns that they were carrying they had game guns that they were carrying in their cars, in their armor cars. They'll go and place them on top of them. Place those game guns and snap pictures. They were the ones distributing those pictures out, just to give the impression that they were killing fighters. But those were no fighters. Today we have fighters. I can tell you that. They know that. That is why if you tell them at random, I say, I saw Ambazonian fighters over there and they are coming this way. 90% of the time they will disappear because they know that true soldiers are coming. So this what we have now is what it takes to liberate a people. It's not a group of people who are just frustrated and unhappy and angry and just want to run away or hide. No, we have people who are in charge of their territories. And that is what has happened. People are not trying to analyze the state of the country at this time. They are only
Yeah.
waiting for, you see, when the Republic changes their strategy, we have to change ours. Do you see that they don't come again en masse and say, where are they? You think they don't know where our people are? They know. Let them come during the day, banter to banter. They don't do that. They now look for black legs, pay them money, and
Yeah.
then they wait so that they will give the information that I saw the person passing here, and then they will go and trap the person and kill one man at a time. That's what they do. That's what they do. They have become the gorillas today because they have changed strategy. We are changing strategy a lot. Our boys, at times you will not hear any movement. The next day you just hear that three La Republic are down. They don't go again to the road and shoot. Two of them who have the guns shoot. Who said and they? Who said and they? You don't hear that again. You know, for us in the social media, those are the things that provided the feeds. When you see them come out on the road and say, "Who said and they? Go go go." Let them come. Let them. Where then they? Shoot shoot and say, and then they run back before say, "Yeah, the fight is moving on." Now you don't hear who said and they. You only hear that three, four, five are down. That's what we have. And to tell you, there is nothing that Republic of Cameroon can do to stop this if we don't go to the table and do what they have refused to do since the United Nations in 1961. If they are not ready to sit down and discuss so that we find the terms of separation and good neighborliness of living together, of separating and living together in good neighborliness, then we have come, Ambazonia, I mean, our resistance have come to stay. That somebody is bleeding more than us, and it's La Republic. Go and ask their treasury. Go and ask their political infrastructure. They are bleeding. And no country without reserves, without even printing their own money, can survive such a hole in their pockets for any time long.
So, Mr. President, in spite of some of the internal challenges that we are facing, you've examined the situation and you think that if there's no correction made on our part, we can pull this through within the next 2, 3, or 4 years. Now that Cameroon is showing that they're not willing for a negotiation, they just want to defeat us at war. And you know what that means in international law. You're confidently telling the people of Ambazonia today that we can pull this through.
Yes, I think even they themselves, La République du Cameroon, they know that. They know that because it is the only thing that somebody should tell me is that suddenly Ambazonia will disarm and will stop fighting.
Yeah.
Because of which solution? What is the solution that will cause us? There must be a solution. You cannot, I used to say that if you have not given, if we don't have a reason to live, we will not be afraid to die. If you don't give me a reason to live, why should I be afraid to die? The only thing that will make us stop, when you hear we say that it until the last man standing, it means there could be a scenario for a one man, but until that one man comes down.
Yeah.
So some of the children of our fighters, some of the children of those who were mercilessly slaughtered, innocent women and children, they are now of age. As I was looking back at on my birthday anniversary celebration, that's what I do. I take a stock of the past. I looked at how much I have given and sacrificed for 8 million people, uh, sacrificially. I counted the years. I said, wow, 6 years. Imagine that we have been in this since the slaughter of 2017, about 7 years. The children who are 13 years old, when La Republic break into houses, burn properties, kill mothers. You know how old they are now? They are now 20.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah.
Yes. From 18, from 13 years plus 7, they are 20 years. And they are already holding the gun. So you tell them that suddenly they will just come and say, no, we have fought, we don't want to fight again, let the Republic take it. What do you give them in exchange? What you live for what? They should live for what?
What should
If
they be living?
they don't have any reason to live, because right now, any true Ambazonian who has two eyes and one head with a brain, La Republic has taken everything we have and everything we are.
Yeah.
We cannot live for ourselves. We cannot live, we don't have what belongs to us. They have taken away everything. Then suddenly we say, okay, we give up. In exchange of what? So that's why I said that it cannot stop. I'm just giving this narration to show you that this can't stop. We are ready to fight to the end. The question should be reversed to La Republic. How long can you continue to fight instead of peace? How long? And I believe that as far as fighting is cheaper than peace, as far as the bullet is cheaper than the pen, people will go for the bullet. But soon as they realize that, the bullet is more expensive than the pen, then they will go for the pen. So the question is, how long can they do it? Because it doesn't depend on us. We are already on an end. We have nowhere to go. We have no option but to fight. The question is, how long are they going to continue with this option? Because it does not depend on us. If I give up, I die. If I don't give up, I may die or I may succeed. But for them, they have a choice. We don't have a choice but to resist till the end. That's the fact. So the question should be to La Republic, how long can you continue to kill these people? They said they will eliminate us in 2 weeks. From 2 weeks to 1 year. From 1 year now to 7 years. Where they are now is not where they were 7 years ago. Yes, they have now become a dunghill. Go to their cities, you will see what it is. Everything is crumbling.
Yeah.
So, how long are they going to continue with this option? That should be their question. But for us, on the victim receiving side, we have decided to fight. For me, I will fight till the end. There's nothing you will show me on this planet that constitutes a reason for me not to fight. Because it is better for me to die fighting than to stop fighting and I die.
It cannot be said any better than that. And the unfortunate part of it is the media in the Cameroon has been strategically positioned never to give this information to their people. And that's why ABC, it's a very important platform where we are streaming all across sub-Saharan Africa, and they're watching us 24/7. Mr. President, let's move into something related but slightly different. It has to do with advocacy. When we're talking about UN resolutions, the legality of Ambazonia, the historicity of our movement, it has to do with advocacy. And we cannot at this time talk of advocacy without looking at the Kansas City 3, which is what I want us to focus on. Now, in terms of advocacy, particularly relating to the Kansas City 3 court case, you have argued a couple of times that Ambazonia deserves the same treatment as Palestine, as Ukraine. But however, or how many times you would say that, it doesn't really seem to be gaining sufficient traction, because the legality of Ambazonia perhaps is put to question by maybe the judge or certain people who share the same Tibor Nagy sentiments. What do you think, and what more of an explanation do you have to give to Ambazonians that are hoping that somehow your rhetoric and government policy or approach towards this case can yield some fruits?
when a matter is before the court and we are making effort to shine the light to so that we can attain the justice that we deserve. You cannot measure the impact of our effort through social media, or you want somebody to come out there and make a statement and say, oh, the person has made another statement, so something is working. The only way you know the impact of your efforts when you are pushing a legal matter is when the matter is called in court. When the judge has to hear the case. And that is where we will know whether what we are doing has any impact or not. The one thing I want to tell you is that this year, in the months ahead, the matter shall be heard. This is not, you can accuse somebody and produce whatever you call your evidence. You can convince a jury. You can even get an indictment, but that is not a judgment by the court. That just leads us to the justice of the matter, which is finally decided by the court system. And the court system also has an appeal court. It also has a Supreme Court. So it makes sure that even if a judge decides to be corrupt, he will not be the only judge in the land that can look into the matter. So we only know the effort of what we are doing or what we have done when the matter eventually comes to court. And now I can tell you it is going to be in court very soon. And that's when we can tell what we have done. The thing that this is not a good thing for our comrades.
Yeah.
In every bad thing that is happening, there is a good side. This matter is going to give us the highest form of visibility we have ever had within the United States government. By putting our matter by contrasting our matter with other existing current issues, it has elevated our matter to a certain level. Before Ukraine was attacked in 2022, before Israel was attacked by Hamas, I think last year or so, our matter was not to be discussed at a certain level. Was not the weight of the matter was not seen at a certain level. Now all these things have happened, and indeed, our comrades were arrested before the world changed. I want to tell you that now the arguments have changed. Those who could not see it before, I think they will see it better now, because now we have something to compare. When they were arrested, we had nothing to compare. Even the justices had nothing to compare. Of course, I think Ukraine was already somehow in the middle of it. That's when, after they were taken, because they were taken in November, Ukraine was attacked by I think February or so, or is it February or March? February, yes. So they started, but for now, as we look into the justice of the matter, these issues have so much shone the spotlight on our matter, because we have scholars, influential individuals who have compared, done a comparison on how the international community has treated this conflict in Europe, the other one in Asia, versus the number one conflict in Africa that is ongoing, which has to do with the international community itself as the foundation, and which has annexation. Is the number one conflict that has to do with annexation. That comparison has been made thanks to what has happened. So I want to say that the justice of the matter will be has better chances than when we started, and more voices have added than when we started. So let us see. We can only
Yeah.
prove that in the court and not on media.
Mr. President, that's very good, because even the Justice Department publishes everything that happens about it. And I must agree with you that we now have much more support than when it started. We've now been spotlighted even in places we never expected. That would have cost us a lot of money to get to those places. And truth be told, the challenges are high, or the stakes are really very high. But you seem to be very confident from what you're saying here. You are ready to take it to any level. You've suggested appeal or Supreme Court, which means if you are not satisfied at any level, you're going to push through. In one of these efforts to express dissatisfaction, I understand that the lawyers for the Kansas City 3, which was published also online, filed a petition to have the case dismissed because they saw the counts as not sufficient enough for a criminal charge. Dr. Mungwa also expressed that he received a letter from a very high office, I think U.S. Attorney General's office, telling him that the case is not criminal as defined in court. But this petition fight was rejected by the judge. Are you worried about the outcome of that petition that was filed? And what will be your next strategy? And how do you want to get Ambazonians involved to help you realize this?
All I need is Ambazonians to do is support. Is to support our effort, because I want to assure you that where we have a willing legal team in place that collaborates, that cannot be corrupted by the other side, then we can get down to the justice of matter that is presented in court. Because a judge will only make a decision based on the weight of the arguments that are presented for them. And that's why even decisions, judgments can be appealed, even rulings can be appealed. And now I want to tell you that we're ready to not just get into the matter, the hearing itself, the appeal every decision that is made by the court that does not sit well according to the justice. If we think that the justice is not done, we are going to appeal it. By having a willing legal team that is willing to do what attorneys do in defense of their clients, we are going to make sure that in this matter that is becoming more and more political, only the law should apply. It should not be a political judgment, but it should be a legal one. So we are going to make sure that that's the case, because we still believe that it was a political decision. It was a political decision to hold them or indict them in the first place. I mean, when you weigh the legality of the issue, it was more because it's a political decision that defines who is the problem in a foreign country and who is not the problem.
Yeah.
Because they did nothing within their American soil that they should be defined by the law of America, that they are breaking this law or that. But when you start telling us that the people agitating here or fighting here or resisting here or fighting back here, for you this side is correct, the other side is wrong, that's a political choice. That's a political decision. We are going to make sure that it will not be a political decision, because the court is not there to judge political matters in foreign countries. But when their own citizens are in court, they are judged according to the law of the United States of America. We are bound to do that, and we're going to go every step of the way. The only thing I'm asking Ambazonians is that you should remember that as an army, we are all the same corps, esprit de corps. We are together, we are one. I believe that there are folks who are in that predicament. If they were free, they will be sitting side by side with me in agreement to fight for the one that is unfortunately in problems, unjustly by an unjust international system. So, or misunderstood and found themselves in the wrong place. We will not abandon them. Let's do what we can, because for me, when you look at it, when a soldier look at his colleague, he sees himself, because we are one. It's one body. So let's fight like one man. The enemy will not take chances. He will not succeed. If the justice of this matter is done as it should, as and we are put on the same pedestal with Ukraine, and that which we are. Ukraine was said to be annexed. Let them define what is happening in Ambazonia. Anything less than annexation, let me see. So you cannot condemn one annexation and uphold another annexation.
Yeah.
So we shall put that aside. We shall make sure that that is not the case. Let them look only into the justice of the matter as a legal matter within the law of the United States, and justice shall be done.
Mr. President, talking now in conclusion with this, just to conclude on this particular issue so we can move on. We have covered about 70% of what we have for you today. Just to conclude on this issue, you've said about 3 times that if we have a determined, and I'm not quoting you word verbatim, but if we have a determined and collaborative legal team, you're confident in the way this matter will go. Are you by any means suggesting the character of the current legal team? Are you comfortable with the way they're handling issues? Do you consider, I know you're receiving advice, you have a college of advisors, including Heights, and that are advising you as to how to go about it. Are you comfortable with the current legal team? Would you consider to have the government bring in a new legal team if need be?
We are constantly reviewing the actions and the efficacy of the team, because this is not something we are going to lose by somebody's inefficiency. We can only lose it only on the point of law, according to the law. So we'll make sure that there are no such lapses that tomorrow we might be saying that, oh, well, we had our point, everything was right. It's just because we did not have the necessary collaboration or the effort that was needed from this or that. So we are constantly reviewing everything, and that is those are some of the decisions we are making in-house. But I'm only saying that we are going to make sure that we have the right people, and at any time that we have the right people and they are doing the right things, and seeking the justice of the matter. If the need arises that some people should be changed, with the resources that Ambazonians will put in our hands, we will do so. But we want to be very meticulous about it. That we don't want to we don't have all the money in the world, but some money is worth spending when it is for a battle that should be won or must be won.
That's amazing. So we're moving forward now. Now, I'd like us to talk about school resumption, and we can't do that without talking about a certain group of individuals who call themselves frontline leaders in a consultative commission for democracy in Southern Cameroons. I don't know what that means, but it would appear that they are fostering some semblance of what they call unity, and they're being encouraged by Tibor Nagy. Tibor Nagy, in one of his statements, I thought I should bring this up, also would say that the only way the international community can take us seriously is if we unite. I don't want to distract you on that, but if you want to comment on it. you can, Mr. President. But this is what I want us to look at because it's very instrumental with who is speaking to the people on the ground and the way Ambazonians, even some individuals within the government, are perceiving issues. Um, you One thing about this commission is that you are predominantly absent. Were you contacted, or is it by choice that you've opted not to be a part of this commission? Of you have never found them. There are lots of them. They even sent out a communique to give their own instructions as to what they want schools resumption to be. Please talk to us.
Uh, I don't seek relevance. I seek the actions that will lead to the liberation of our people. That's it. There are some people who are nowhere to be found as far as the actions that are moving this revolution is concerned. They are nowhere to be found. But they are in the quest for relevance. And so they can come together at any time and call themselves any name, or they can call themselves any name or do whatever. It's just a quest for relevance. Because suddenly they write a piece of paper and we are talking about it, for example. That is relevance. Or they share it on Twitter and somebody like Tibor Nagy makes a comment. That's some relevance. So when you are in the action, you don't seek relevance. When you are out of the action, you seek relevance. We in this government of Southern Cameroons and Ambazonia, we don't seek relevance because we seek the actions. And for me, I think that when it comes to the resolution of the conflict, it is those that are in charge of the actions that are relevant. So nobody contacted me in a club of relevant people who seek relevance. Why should they call somebody who doesn't need the relevance? I don't need relevance. If when we get to the moment when we have to discuss to be or not to be the fate of the Southern Cameroons and Ambazonia, if they say that I did not sign a piece of paper so I am not relevant enough, then I will laugh and go away. Because that's not how conflicts are resolved. You know, if not that this revolution is taking place in the era of social media, some of those names you call there, can you even, if you don't look for that paper, can you pronounce them? Can you even identify them? Okay, just because they came and signed a piece of paper, we talk about them. No. Social media has created names and persons that okay, let me ask you something. If today I am no more here, I left this thing, I went like Peter, I became a fisherman, I'm doing my fishing, I will still be the leader? Will you still call me a leader? Because, oh, once upon a time we knew about Dr. Sako. So now, when I go and sign a paper somewhere, they say, oh, the leader has signed because I'm doing my fishing and I'm going my way. Because of what I used to do, where I used to be, once you are there, always there for war without end, amen. No, that is not how revolution is. That's not how control is determined. I am telling you that I encourage them to do whatever they are doing, but when it comes to solving the conflict, the international community and any party and anyone who is interested to join us in solving the problem knows how relevance is defined. It is defined by actions. You don't just gather and issue a piece of paper for relevance. Produce the actions that will make you relevant. As for us, we know that if you want to stop, if you want you want to stop the war, then you talk to those who are in the war. That's it. That is how it will be. The rest of them, because they have made themselves uh, uh, They have shown interest in the outcome of the struggle. That's all I can say. They have shown interest because they talk about it. Because once upon a time they would talk about it, so they have shown interest. Some of them may be involved in the process if the principals think that they are relevant or they will make a contribution. That's it. So come talk on the other side of the Republic, can talk about this politics all over. Anytime he talks about Ambazonia, he's just seeking for relevance. But when the day of resolving the war comes, if La Republique thinks that on their side they will need a Camto, then they will talk to him. Otherwise, he is only relevant to the extent that he is producing the actions that determine the outcome or the end or not of this war. So I see all those gimmicks. Some of them, after about 3 weeks, after we talk like this, that one will disappear. Then another communique will come out sometime maybe before December, and then some people talk about it again. Some people live and breathe because social media exists. To tell you the truth, I'm not minimizing anyone, but the truth is that when I see the weight that we put on them, they truly exist because they're social media. If the struggle for against apartheid in South Africa was happening at this time, I'm sure they would have had about 500 so-called leaders all over the place. But everything was concentrated around a certain nucleus because there was this information age was not there. But today, anybody who has a place where he talks and 10 people come to that program, 8 of them insult them, 2 of them say, yeah, you are good. It's a leader. They add him on a list. When they sit down and sign a piece of paper, they say, oh, the leaders have just decided. No, leaders are leading. What are they leading? You are a leader. Show me what you are leading.
Taking responsibility. They're taking responsibility, and we've had Mr. Arno actually referring to that group as a critical mass. It was shocking for him to have made such a statement. But there's something very important. I wrote it down especially to ask you because it's a cause for concern. I understand that Nebafontem once dismissed you. A lot of them that are coming together now would have done a lot of things to you. But this is my question to you, Mr. President. You have previously made efforts. We can name them ACON, ASC, Team Ambazonia, and so on and so forth. Even before that, you made a lot of efforts to bring these groups and those who call themselves frontline leaders together. But the outcomes were generally not positive. Now, as the leader of the movement that you are, that's indisputable. Have you given up on these efforts? Could your absence be perceived as encouraging disunity or within the Ambazonian freedom movement if you are unable to find a middle ground, or still believe that somehow you can carry some of these people along as you champion the liberation cause?
I want to say that there is a virtual Ambazonia and there's a real Ambazonia. The virtual Ambazonia is everything that you find on social media and social media interactions, actions and interactions for and against this war. That is the virtual Ambazonia. But the real Ambazonia is the network of those who are actually responsible for what is going on in the Southern Cameroons today, and that can make or mar what is going on. Yeah, I don't want, as I said before, I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to cross bridges that are leading. I don't want to sit with people who are looking for what I don't know. The only people I am interested to talk with or to join hands with are people who are consequential enough on the ground, who are producing the kind of actions that we need to move this revolution forward. I don't want to make social media friends. I don't want to have people to follow me on social media, or I follow them as friends. Or what we call a meeting, we go there, we sit, we eat, we drink, and then we write a piece of paper and fly out there. That is inconsequential. That is not the kind of anybody promoting that kind of agreement is trying to water down our struggle, because that is not the struggle. That is not the struggle. That is on the periphery. The only actors that matter, you see, the only actors that matter in a revolution are those, the people who are producing the actions. If I'm ready to sit down to talk with them, because let me tell you, civil society cannot stop the war. It is the fighters that can stop the war. Civil society can only help to win the peace when the war comes to an end. I am an actor in this struggle. I'm not civil society. Some of those people, if you want to promote them a little, you will call them civil society of Ambazonia. And anyone who is promoting only the civil society is either in denial of what is happening on the ground, or is misleading the international community to talk to people who cannot enforce a single resolution. What's the need of you gather together to make constitute yourself as anything, and that you can make decisions and resolutions that you cannot enforce? So it means that you are usurping, trying to take somebody's place. I am ready to talk. First of all, when I'm not contacted, I don't get crash. And when I am contacted, I will examine the sense or the nonsense in what is proposed to me. I will examine the content and everything combined and make an informed decision. But when I am not even contacted, it means they already judge it for themselves that they want to waste my time, because at least we have been defined already in this struggle. We have defined our character, our stance, our focus, and who we are. So sometimes some people judge it for themselves. They don't even try it with you because they know the answer before they come. But when it is serious enough, I trust me, I will know it. I will be informed. I will make a reasonable and decision. I will not decide because of ego. There's no decision I will take because of ego. Every decision I will take will be for the best interest of the struggle. Because to tell you the truth, when you are carrying the size of the burden you carry will determine your desire for a solution. You cannot carry the burden that I'm carrying, then I see a true solution. That is the yearning and the desire of the people of Ambazonia. I don't embrace it because of some ego. No. But when you present me things that make no sense, you want me to join you in an ego context or a context for relevance, I will not. I will not. I will not waste my time. And I will not try to deceive the Ambazonian by my body language that something is happening here when nothing is happening. The only thing that is relevant right now is whatever we do that will get us, that will keep the fire burning on the ground, that will bring better coordination and action on the ground and hold La Republic to the fight. That is what matters. And those are the kind of people, if you know them, please sample them, and those are the people I want to talk to for now.
Mr. President, in one of their recent meetings, an audio I would say leaked. I don't know if it was published intentionally, but as I was coming news, I heard something that's of interest, and that will lead us to something that will be concluding our conversation for tonight about taxes and schools. Let's listen to it briefly.
They are our people. They are for the reason we are fighting. They are for the reason we are sacrificing our energy, our time, and every other thing. So when we want to take a decision, that is what we are saying. We cannot even stop some groups because these things are done on papers and Facebook and WhatsApp. But we are saying that it has to stop for the good of the struggle. When you want to decide on something, ask yourself, what is the negative consequences of this decision? I've given one here. When you ask people to pay taxes, you give them receipt. Then GMI, gendarmes and military come and arrest them because they discover that they have paid taxes to you without receipt. Where are you to protect them? Because that's the reason you collect taxes. You are the authority. You are claiming that you are the authority. You are running them. They pay taxes to you. Where are you when the gendarmes, the army, the military, and the terrorists are attacking those people, arresting them, locking them up, and asking for money? Where are you to defend them? Were you able to sit with the other leaders to find out how you can find a way where the people can contribute without you putting them at war? It is criminality. When you tell people to change the colors of their taxi, who runs the road? When did they register the taxi? You want them to change the color? Are you the one who registered the taxi for them? Because the registration is still owned by La Republic. They still go to La Republic to register it. The council is still taking money from them. They're running the taxi. You ask them to change the color in the open. And then when they seize their taxis, where are you to go and remove it from those who have impounded it? These are the questions I'm asking. Why do you take these decisions when you are further risking the lives of the people and putting them in danger? You're not doing anything to free the homeland. You are turning the people against the rest of all the others for the work they are doing. Because they will not say it is Dr. Kwanga doing it. They will say, look at what those people who are abroad there, who are not suffering, see what they are doing.
Mr. President, that was Dr. Ebenezer Akwanga, whom I understand you at one point you would have worked with him, at least agreeing with you for the cry you've been crying for months, that this whole liberation tax and the way it's being prosecuted, the so-called change of taxes, is an entirely a bad idea. I just would like you to comment again on that issue so that the stance of your government will be reiterated.
Well, I agree with Comrade Akwanga, probably more than many other people who used to have footprints on the ground. So I had even worked some understanding with him. We have gone further than it has been with any other person. Yeah. I've had private conversations with him on issues when they happen, when I knew that I needed his input. And we have had frank conversations. I think on this issue, it's another issue where we agree. It is wrong. It is wrong. But here, let me say this: that when the people leave the realm of the area of actions, when they stop producing actions and start seeking relevance, they do things because for them, notoriety is popularity. Notoriety is popularity. Anything that puts them in the media is popular. It makes them popular. When somebody is seeking for relevance, he can get it through notoriety or he can get it through popularity. Popularity will come when you are doing the right things. When people really, what people really want, and you are producing those actions, you will get popularity. Then you can also become notorious and therefore known by everyone to be such. I think that's the path of the ADF, if at all, wherever they stay, they exist. That's the path they have chosen of relevance through notoriety. If not, how are decisions made? How are decisions made? Did you just wake up one morning, you yawn, you think about it, or you do? Or you just wait when anybody does something, because you cannot scold anyone. especially when you are not producing the action, you are irrelevant. You cannot correct anybody. So the only thing you can do for popularity is to endorse anything that comes to you. You can tell a child, I don't want you to read this book, and you go to the bookshelf and buy another book and give that child. But if you cannot afford a book and he's playing with that which he's playing with, well, it's not enough. You cannot tell him stop. If he says stop, he says stop. I'm still bored. What will I get? What will you tell that person? Nothing. So some people endorse any nonsense on the ground. They endorse and find a way, a talking point to justify any nonsense on the ground that happens. They even take responsibility for what they did not do just for relevance. But even though that is making them notorious, for them, if they want to become relevant through notoriety, since they cannot get it through popularity anymore, because they are not producing the actions that the Ambazonians want. So, for you to say that taxis should change their colors, which office will, which office is registering taxis? Do they also have an office that is registering the taxis? No, they are actually saying that taxis should expose themselves to be targeted. That's you should make sure that's a law that says taxis should expose themselves to be targeted. Among them, the same taxis that will help will lock down, will marching here and there, and will even support, and some of them help them they help us. Then you say expose yourself by giving yourself a flag and a color that people should come, you should be arrested. And just like Akwanga asked, are they there to support them? When people obey your laws and they are victimized for obeying your laws, you should be ready, you should be there to defend them for obeying your laws. Then the tax, the same thing. The people on the ground, let me tell you the truth. On the ground, um, people have been able to help one way or the other their children. If my child is in the resistance, I think there is nothing wrong with that child for what he's doing. I can give that child some food to eat. Then I don't need a receipt for the food. I don't need a receipt. If you give me a receipt, it means that any day they search me, they find that receipt, they should know that that's what I'm doing. Is that not the height of stupidity? You only see it as stupid if you still want to win the war. If you are involved in the actions that are moving this struggle, you will be worried about it. But if you are somebody who is clearly inconsequential and only seeking relevance, you will laugh at it. No matter what we say, they will laugh at it because that's the only thing they crave for. They crave for some form of relevance through whatever crazy thing they do. So they are doing this crazy thing so that we can even talk about it. The fact that I even in this telecast I even mentioned the name ADF, for them that's enough promotion. Whether I mention it for good or for bad, they have been promoted. Maybe at least people, the name exists at least in the minds of the people. That's what they want to do.
Yeah, I cannot agree any less with you that he is trying to just seek attention, and there are those who really believe that he's not working for Ambazonia because his actions on the ground are turning the people against the movement. And this is a critical issue which I don't think you can leave here tonight without addressing it. Ambazonians in their millions are watching you right now at the home front. Some of them are sending in their messages, and they will ask these questions that we find difficulty to understand. If you would have to advise the people at the home front in the face of this complexity and confusion created by what I call a Cameroon proxy militia or armed group, what would be your advice, Mr. President? And also, if we must have the people on the ground participate, maybe by some form of donation, food, money, what is the best or better way to go about it?
We have resisted La Republique, which is about 20 million people. We cannot bow to some few renegades who want to destroy our hope and our struggle. We cannot bow to them. So my only advice is that we are resisting every enemy, internal and external. Those who are carrying Ambazonian flag, calling themselves Ambazonia this, Ambazonia that, they are not working for our interests. We will resist them the way we resist La Republic. So that's my advice. We should not surrender to them, because surrendering to the internal enemies, they are the same as surrendering to the enemies without. Because anything that will make us fail or make us fall short is a victory to the enemy, external, that we know. So this we cannot surrender to the proxy. The only thing is that we have been prosecuting this struggle for a while now. We already, as I said the other time, we have defined ourselves in this struggle. There are no strangers. Even right in the home front, you know who is who. You even know among the fighters who are who. You know them, especially because of this system we put in place where people, which is a county by county strategy, you know who is who. You already have an idea of who are these fighters who are around me here or not. We should not allow the bad seeds to destroy the hope of 8 million people. So I want us at the home front to do everything to collaborate with the good ones, because you know them. There are certain instances where you don't know them, but in most instances you know them. Encourage the good guys, because the bad guys are not as many as the good guys. And it takes a good man with arms to stop a bad guy with arms. If we associate with the ones that are good, if we don't bundle everybody together as La Republic wants us to, if we turn our anger against the bad guys, but make sure that we know that the good guys are not bundled together, then we'll be able to preserve our revolution. But I know that the haters of our struggle, they want to take advantage, because this is not a we are not fighting without opposition. And the haters and La Republic that orchestrated this through their proxy is also working on the ground to make sure that they can promote this narrative, they can take advantage of this, they can popularize this idea and whip up the anger of the people so that they will make a blanket, they will hate us, they will turn against the struggle completely. That is the intention, that we should understand better and know that the question is that if you collaborate, you join yourself together to turn against the good and the bad because of what the bad guys have done to you, what alternative is La Republic offering you?
Yeah.
What alternative is La Republic offering? Are you really sure that if all the bad guys, because of the bad guy, will wipe out all the good guys from the struggle, and the struggle ends and La Republic takes over and parades itself as the victor of a war that they fought and won, you will have any voice against you die? In fact, it will be as good as everybody died than for those who will live under that dispensation. So that's why I say that instead of us to buy that narrative and turn against our own, when we know that the enemy has planted his own to cause these actions and cause this confusion and turn our hatred against our own liberators, we are not going to allow that. We are instead going to be surgical to know that only those who are evil, who are bad, they don't deserve our collaboration. Even when they force us at gunpoint to do so, we are not going to continue to support them. We are going to make sure that we stop them, because Because if you don't stop the internal enemies, the external enemies will continue to use them.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to thank you very much on behalf of ABC, on behalf of Ambazonians that are watching us. I would like to say happy birthday. You should have probably been partying, but you are here with us. As you give your final statements, I would say that Manu County is blessed to have you on set just a few hours into Manu County draft. We know the importance of this county. You just said earlier on that the struggle, the armed struggle, actually ignited from Manu. We understand that Manu occupies a very important boundary with an economic power in Africa. And if we could just win Manu and own it, there is a major custom duty post there that could raise a lot of funds for Ambazonia. Manu has been consistent in spite of the challenges, the invasion of coup plotting. Manu County has proven that they are a force to reckon with. As the president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, talking to stakeholders today, what would you want them to know? And how is this county important in your current military apparatus? Use that to give your final statements, Mr. President.
In fact, in every race, it is difficult to be the first to take the lead from the beginning and still be a leader by the end. It takes skill, it takes dedication, it takes determination to do that. Manu taught us how to resist with bare hands. That is where the word Odeshi was coined. I mean, it was popularized within our vocabulary, because these are people with bare hands who decided to go out there and say, no, enough is enough, out of mere courage. I don't know how to define Odeshi, but I think I have to define Odeshi as courage, raw courage that defies human fear. That's what happened. They came against bullets and fearless. The bullets missed so many of them, and they were disarming soldiers with their hands, and many died in that situation. Manu has paid with their blood, because they started paying when we were not even ready by any stretch, and they suffered the most. The first 5,000 refugees that entered Nigeria were all from Manu. So they have lost a lot. The one thing I said, for you to be the first in a marathon and be among the first at the end, it shows energy, it shows determination, and that we must support. I want to say that when our leaders left Nigeria, they came to when Premier Endeli left Nigeria, and all the leaders like one man packed and came back. The first meeting they held was in Manfe to determine the fate of the people of Southern Cameroons. I think that there's no other reason why the struggle itself that will actualize that dream again started in Manu. So I want to tell you that we should do our best. For as long as there are people on the ground who have refused to say yes to the bullies, who have refused to say to these ones who have bullied us, who hope and pray that we should just give up and they take us for eternal slaves, we should not relent. We should give what we have, and as much as we have. As long as there's somebody standing with his barefooted, with his not bare knuckles to fight, we must put substances in their hand. When we say until the last man standing, it means that we will support until the last man standing. No country left behind. Let us help those. I already had some briefings about certain things happening on the ground in Manu. I cannot say some of them here, but they need their support right now. So God bless you. On Saturday, in about 3 days' time, let us be there and let us support those who deserve our support.
Camera locked.
SMO Jamti ya jamta ya jamta Jamti ya jamta Mananga bangale ya fu Dora bangale ya ronga Jamti ya cha ya chao Makongo Vanessa Erova Vanessa I love you Erova Vanessa Manoa Ngara nebe kongo Manoa Ngara nebe kongo
There was no better way to have ended the program of tonight. That was Besem of Manu County. You don't want to miss Manu County draft this Saturday for anything in the world. Just giving you some glimpse of the beauty that Manu will be preparing for you this Saturday. Manu County has been there for every county. We want to honor the bravery of Manu County this weekend. And it was the president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia actually launching Manu draft this evening. To all those who have been watching, I want to thank you for tuning in, and I will leave you with ABC Amba TV images. One thing that we must do as a collective is to draft our way to Boya. See you on Saturday.
The number one most important thing for every Ambazonian to do right now is the draft. We stand at the threshold of an existential struggle, a pivotal juncture in our proud history that brooks no failure, tolerates no hesitation. So we will draft incessantly, individually, within the warm, vibrant tapestries of our communities. We will draft. We must draft. Draft, for in this paramount task, our draft, lies the power to liberate Ambazonia.
Yes, I'm Ambazonia. Today for the month of August 2024. I will take time to invite you to tell you about Manu County War Draft. Manu County War Draft will take place on Saturday, August 31st, 2024. You're gonna come on. Fellow Ambazonians, we are greeting you people. We are inviting you to join us for Manu County Draft this Saturday, the last of August 2024. Yes, make una no dance. My brother is saying, say, before you come to my house, make you hold your skin. As you don't come to my house, you come as Akbara, make you hold your skin, make you pack come out. As manual, you go the draft. The 1st of September 2024, as from the 1st of September 2024, no moto, you go come out from manual. you go for Nigeria. As a no motor, you go pass Obojongo Highway. No motorcycle, you go pass Obojongo Highway, you go for Nigeria. As a no motor, or motorcycle, or bicycle, you go pass Obojongo Highway, you go for Nigeria. See further notice. I say as from September the 1st, 2024, no motor, no motorcycle, nothing at all. You go pass Obojongo Highway, formerly called Manfekok Highway, or go for Nigeria, or for go for Ikok, or for go for Imojo. Nothing. That road, it will be a dead end for everybody. Number 2, manual, it invite Ramon I can join for supervise, observe, participate, support Manual County War Draft. Before no one come for support Manual County War Draft. Make you not just come because you can't support Manual County because of somebody or because of this one, because of that one. I will give you reason why man you deserve a boost. So that if you want to give your money from Manual County, maybe you know what your money do. Me, I can't tell you why you give your money from Manual County. I'll give you the reason. Two Manual County don't do, two way they do, and two way you could do. So why you go give your money? You know how that money could be used. Manual County, are the only county from Ambazonia where they use Naira. Manual County, are the only county from Ambazonia where they use Naira. Yes, Manual County use Naira. You don't be a year and over. The Manual County implement Naira system where use Naira inside Manual County to show the distinction between other counties. And now the reason that way you make African support Manual. As Manual County they use Naira, you don't take Cabron say we know they with them again at the Republic. We don't tell them say we know they with them again. Manual County they send all the cocoa them for Nigeria. I say Manual County cocoa them, they send them all for Nigeria. Cocoa, coffee, everything, mango, everything go to Nigeria. Nothing you go for the Republic again. It is staff like the Republic government every day and night. So if you can give her money, for reason for reinforce all these rules that we did inside Manual County. Manual County, the country we don't close Janamari Brigade. When they be wipe the Kelebe them for Bojongo Highway, that brigade never open again. All more for that brigade never come back. Because they don't go meet up again. They never come back. So Manual County, they go to carry what they call Operation Coming. As September 1st, Manual County go carry what they call Operation Coming. Operation Coming are waiting. That means say as Bojongo Highway, you go remain close. No motor go pass, no motorcycle go pass. Manual County ASA them, they go work a house to house, door to door. They find any Republic person way in not for inside Ambazonia, they go kill it. Manual County ASA them and mobile wing them, they go work a house to house, door to door, find all the colonial administrator them, when they inside Manual, they go kill them. I put them clear. So you can't give your money for war draft. And for use them for reinforcement cocoa, you go to Nigeria. And for use them for move out all these Cameroon Republic colonial administrator them, where they kill us. Now the thing that way your money go do for war draft. So if you can't do your work, do for war draft, me no say now the function that way your money go be used. I no go choose them. Even if 2 people can't give that money, we use them for that purpose. You don't sing go left, sing come right. So you can't give money for Manual war draft, so that money go be used. Operation Coming go start for Manual. The 4 LG them, Ambazonia State Army them, and mobile wing them, and the civilian population will help the ASA them, and mobile wing them. In point, Sabe colonial administrator the inside Manual, we will find them, go kill them. That the whole idea that way there, that the thing that way there. So if you be say administrator die, colonial administrator die, that money you put on you can't kill it. We use them to kill them all. We know what they choose, they go left, they go right, they go right. So if you did for inside Manual, when as for this September 1st they don't start, that's what will happen. I know what makes well. I will leave on this song. When they dance, they can't put no fire for their last. We know what they beg them again. That's why nobody beg them again. So they fight war. You know they fight war. You leave the person where they colonize you there for your house. You know go fight war. You leave the colonial administrator them. They pass order from Yaoundé. They take out the dance with her. They kill we. They burn we. They send we for bush as refugees. For inside Ambazonia, Manual County now the biggest county where you get the biggest refugees for inside Nigeria. And for Manual County, the challenge is that we find first time for Manual County. Now so we get too much fighters. We get too much fighters and we try to keep up with the equipment for give them. For Manual County, we get fighters that plenty pass equipment. But the challenge is that we get inside Manual County. So if you can't give your money, you can't support we. That money go help we for make us fight until they get equipment again. Some Manual County ASA them, some they get machine gun, some they get all kind machine a day. If you can't get them, we go buy jackknife, we go buy hand popcorn, any kind of thing we go buy them, give them for them. They go the work at door to door, they carry Operation Coming. If you be Cameroon inside Manual, if you be Cameroon inside Manual County, they go find you, go kill you. If you be Cameroon Republic administrator inside Manual, they go find you, go kill you. As simple as that. We're there for war. You know go to choose this and that. We're there for war. You know go come up for your own day. You can't sit down for your house. You drive way. You go for boost. You carry them for your house. You the chop, you the laugh, you the fat. When I don't forget, for inside Manual County, where they catch the first Ambazonian government president, interim government president, they put them for jail. Former president Ayoktabe Julius, and for Manual come out, they catch it, they put them for jail. For Manual come out, they catch it, they put them for jail. You when I don't forget, for inside Manual County, where the colonial administrator, the colonial SGO, he be sign paper, he evacuate Manual County people them. Say make the pack come out, make they run for the house, or you go estimate them all. And for inside Manual, the colonial SGO, because they so make Manual people the pack come out, go for bush before the army terminate them, for kill them all. And for inside Manual County, where the SGO be make that proclamation. Now for inside Manual County, where when the resistance be start, now for the Cameroon government can start kill Manual people. Now for inside Manual County, where the colonial SGO Humanfe, during this war, he be killed the first Manual person. inside Manu, you shoot them with gun. So inside Manu County. Make we can't give money, make we shoot them too back with gun too. They shoot with gun, we go shoot them with gun, we no go talk with mob. Me I no go talk again. I go listen to this music. Make we dance the camp Saturday. So we can't give you money, so your money go be used. We no go go left or right. We thank Manu County Chief Security. We thank the various LGA people for Manu County. We thank Manu County officials and as such, shake no day. Two go talk and two go do. When they say the road don't close, any motor will come there, they go burn the motor with the content inside. When they say the road it don't close, they no go warn you. Ambazonian State Army for Manu no go warn you. When they see a motor they come for that freeway, they go shoot them and they go burn them. They no go check who the inside, who no the inside. No motor go pass. We dey for war. Manu State Army them, they don't be for bush for 8 years. Ambazonian State Army them for Manu County, they don't be for bush for 8 years. During this time before they did for bush, they don't go through all kind of training for bush. They don't go through all kind of training for bush. So if you see the Cameroon Army, we don't go for 9 months for training. You go come go meet up for bush. And you, if you see you be Cameroon colonial administrator inside your house. This time it did different. I'll tell you the truth. No matter one person will come here to come find you kill you. Now a unit of more than 50 fighters will come for your house, can draw you inside your house if you call them straight inside Manu. September the 1st, when I go see them. That's how it will happen. We don't go talk them again. They want to dance when they come. I will live for this music. Maybe you the doubt and we go see them. Yes, Manu people, this dance is to invite all of you to come join us to support Manu County this Saturday. We are not going to hide it. The aim of this draft is to gather money to evacuate and wipe out those who have sent our parents in the bushes. When the war will start, the colonial deal for Manfe, it will shoot Manu Pikini killer because he will fight back for the country. Colonial deal will sign paper saying Manu people they come out. Mami them for a second. Paddy made they evacuate. Agbokem, Ikome Sako, all of the people they come out, made they go back, made you evacuate. Now so colonial deal will sign paper again. We are abroad, they don't remain for white man country out of Manu. They never come back for Manu again because waiting they fear Cameroon army, they fear Cameroon police, Cameroon gendarme, Cameroon administrator. We are abroad, they don't run all across the world. The papa they don't die, mommy they don't die. They fear for can't bury them because waiting when they come Cameroon army go do kale go catch them. Make we come support Manu County, na can put money. Make we use this money. Now call my number, my name na Willie. My number na +1 832 754 4240. I say Manu County coordinator, my name na Willie. Phone number na +1 832 754 4240. And I can put that money. Make we take that money, we'll kill those who they occupy our land. So that way, maybe they were there for refugee camp, if you come back home, can't stay easily, can't stay with fine. Cameroon army, he come for inside Manu. He burn your house and start to Kimbo. He burn your villages them all. He burn your villages them all. When I see him, shoot. We are young boys and young girls all. Go dig mass grave for back cancer, bury them. For inside Manfe, inside Manu, you will get burying ground the way Cameroon army don't kill Manu, put them bury them for mass grave. You carry some the lock for Boya, lock some right inside Manfe, lock some for Yaoundé. The former president, Ayuktabe Julius, they carry Manu person, they carry on the local right for Yaoundé for different country. They drive from Mambida, they did for refugee camp all over the world. They did it. Manu people don't remain outside the country, will be booked for head, be doctor they all, Secession they all, Manyangaro they all. They don't be for other country them. They dance young people for outside for different country. They dance overseas for different country. They go take libation for the other countries. They did for different white man country they all. Now they can't pour libation for ground. Manu people them want to bring on attention. That libation when I pour for ground to white man country. So the ancestors them they need for ground, they need the receiver. The ancestors them for ground they need the receiver. Until we come for our own grand Manu Puru. For the ancestors they will say yes, Papa, you don't reach for house. You say where I'm gonna send you. Let me say, Papa, you don't reach for house. When I feel say why they bury una placenta inside Manu? Why they bury una never inside Manu? When I feel say why there's no place like home for Manu. Cameroon government can't kill we, burn we houses them. We don't run all. We go for different people in the country as refugees. But this time we will kill them back. We come home. I say we will kill them back before we come home. We not go leave nobody. He deprive we for a free right. We God don't give we the right to live. I say the right we God don't give we we go live. People they come for Yaoundé. They come and they sign Manu. They can't sign paper them. We run come go for bush. They carry them for house. When I can't put money, we go door to door. We go comb them out. We move them back. We shoot them until we learn for kill them. Then we Manu people will go reach home. And when I come this Saturday, they can't put that money so that together we push them all out. And Ambazonian people they're gonna can support. Well wishes when I come, we're gonna dance. We come. Okawe, Okawe, Okawe. Unabano. Venka.
The number one most important thing for every Ambazonian to do right now is the draft. We stand at the threshold of an existential struggle, a pivotal juncture in our proud history that brooks no failure, tolerates no hesitation. So we will draft incessantly, individually, within the warm, vibrant tapestries of our communities. We will draft. We must draft. Draft, for in this paramount task, our draft lies the power to liberate Ambazonia.